Sure.
They'll just pop in and talk to me to give them a message. Chuck's a lot of people that say, how would you know? If, you know, and I tell them, I don't know. It just came. I lost a lot of friends. Tell you.
It's no different than what Jonathan Edwards or any other.
Yeah.
I mean,
But then I just kind of could do things, but I couldn't do what grandmother could do. But grandmother started talking more to me about star people. And she would tell me stories about the Indians that would attack wagons. And if the woman was blonde and the kids, they would steal them. They would not kill them.
right.
They thought they were star people. They would take them back to their tribes. This is documented in a lot of the Indian books back in history.
Wow.
Why they couldn't figure out why they were stealing the
blondes.
blondes. And that's because they were used to the star people coming to them. And then they found out they were human beings. You know, and they were kind of puzzled about that. But, you know, so it's amazing a lot of things that come together.
You know, this is incredible. I mean, I've thought this is amazing. I've never heard this before.
Yeah. Well,
Now, you were saying earlier that that the Native Americans didn't talk about this, and that now you're talking about it.
Yeah, when Chris came out with that book, I told Chris, if you ever have time to sit down and talk to me, I said you would probably meet one of the most unique person in the world because I have seen it all. I said I could tell you things that you would actually not believe.
And you spoke with Brad Steiger too. He helped you.
Brad has helped me. I met him in 1964, and I told Brad I can transport my body without even leaving home to another place and come back and meet people, and I could do many things. I told him, but it happens every time I see a UFO. My education gets better. And then after I met Marcus Tarhume, Marcus showed me to where I could actually stare at people straight in the eyes and suck out your education and put it back into mine. And so he taught me a lot.
So do you think you have some star people in you?
I don't know. I have no idea why they choose me or why things happen to me, but it's amazing. Steve gets to hear a lot.
Do you you were talking earlier about Travis Walton, talking to him. His event occurred in the Sitgreaves National Forest, and that's Apache land?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and that was in 1976.
Yeah.
How does he feel about the whole situation?
I have never met him, but we've been emailing each other for a long time. I read his book, I'd seen the movie. I was real fascinated because he got off of that truck and went over there to see. And, but I think, yeah, I do believe that he's seen it, but I think he's seen more than he's telling.
Yeah.
I have talked to him. I can hear it in his voice that for some reason he's not totally open because he's afraid. But there's nothing to be afraid about because they're just teachers. They're people that come and check us out, you know. But, you know, they've been around for years and, you know, I believe they still walk among us. You know, a lot of them walk around us. You know, but I know that the Indian people have for years and years, even the Cherokees believe that as they come in closer to year 2012, some different tribes of the Cherokees actually believe they're coming back from their worlds to us. And me and Brad talk a lot about different things that shocks him because he's wrote so many books and studied so much that actually I have told him things that I never heard him. He said, tell me more. But, you know, I was raised the old way.
I'll have to ask Guillermo about the whole 2012 thing, but I mean, it's definitely coming to the forefront. I mean, of course, he's from the Maya Azteca background, and you know, it's just amazing from how many different sources you get this whole concept that something really big is going to happen in 2012.
We're going to go
back. It has to do with the UFO situation, and when you get that many different sources of information all saying the same thing, it's hard to discredit it. Especially when it was written a couple thousand years ago, when there were no technical descriptions of, you know, there were no, it was different. You know? Well, they were the gods, and it was religious as opposed to being real.
Oh, you know what's amazing? I heard so many stories about the star people that I used to tell grandmother, I'm going to get married to a guy that's blonde and blue eyes. He's not going to be from here, from Colorado. And I'm going to have 2 star children, a daughter and a son. They're both going to be blonde and blue eyes and white like the star people. And then everybody was like, why do you let your little one talk that way? And she said, because she seems to know things. Well, I ended marrying a guy from Germany, blonde and blue eyes. I lived in Virginia for years.
Right.
And my daughter was born, and she was blonde, and blue eyes.
Where was your daughter born?
In Colorado.
Okay.
And my son was born here in Albuquerque, and he's blonde and blue eyes.
And where did you live in Virginia? Because I mean,
I lived in Roanoke and up in Salem.
Okay, I know exactly.
In
where it is.
Shenandoah Valley.
Oh, beautiful.
And I was there many, many years to where that's where I met Marcus Tarhim.
Right.
And he was the most amazing person I ever met in my life.
And and obviously you think he was a star person. I mean,
Who?
Obviously you believe he was a star person.
Oh, yes. He talked a lot to me about other worlds, spaceships. He was amazingly, he wasn't very tall. He was probably about 5 feet tall, bald-headed, but his features were just like us, except his skin was a little lightish blue. He was amazing. He could move things. We just sit there and move things. Like he'd say, why do you get up to get it, when you actually can look at it and move it to you?
Sounds like the Matrix.
And
maybe it was Neo.
I don't know, but my brother took me to Albuquerque at the university one time where they actually had people that, when I told him that, he said, those are gifted people. They had people that bend spoons, actually could lift up salt shakers and up in the air and come to them. Then I found out I had a grandfather that actually could walk on air. Here in New Mexico, to northern New Mexico, that was a healer that actually could x-ray you, do a lot of things like I did. And
So it's obviously genetic.
yeah, I don't walk on air though. I can't see in water, but I know that my grandmother could put her hand on a book and transfer everything back to her brain in her language.
Edgar Casey was reported to have done that.
Yeah.
Been able to do that after an encounter with an angel.
She told me about a man. She died years ago. You're going to be living next to water, and there's a man that has already lived there that can do the things that I did. And she talked a lot about this man was a dream healer. Well, when I moved to Virginia,
What's a dream healer?
like Casey was,
Okay.
actually dream and you heal people through your dreams,
Okay.
and because you can travel at that time.
Sure. OBs and astral
Yeah.
projection.
Yeah, so you can, but what she said really did happen. Then during that time I met Brad, and he had this questionnaire, the paperwork to sign, and I said, I filled out everything, and he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. He said, then you are a star person. And I said, I don't know about that.
Right.
But everything that I signed, in his questions was led to where I was a star person. But I was different, I know I'm different. Even Steve knows I'm weird.
Yeah, we're all kind of crazy. It's all good.
But in the crystal dolls, that after I did storytelling, an Indian woman showed up on my place, and we were living in Phoenix. And I went outside the balcony to just get fresh air. I always, for some reason, I can't deal with a lot of heat. I have to be cold. It shocks doctors, but the cold will bring my blood pressure down. I have to be where it's cold. If it's cold, I feel real healthy. You put a lot of heat on me and I'm not healthy. I get sick with heat. But I have to put cold packs on me sometimes to totally stay stable.
So you went outside. This is in was this
in
around
Phoenix
the Phoenix
during
lights?
the time that the lights. I had not heard about it, and she mentioned to me an Indian woman to come downstairs and talk to her, and she said, I heard you story tell at the museum, because I'd gone up to the museum and the Indian Museum, and I told them I was a storyteller, because they were looking for somebody to tell stories to kids. And
The Herd Museum.
yeah, the Herd Museum.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll tell them I'm the storyteller. And then they said, well, you can go visit the whole museum free, and they don't charge you if you're Indian.
Right.
You know that.
I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah. We were going to have the conference at the Herd Museum originally.
Yeah, I went in there, and then she said she heard me there, but I don't remember ever seeing that woman, to tell you the truth, in there. And she followed me to my place, and she started teaching me how the artwork and about the crystal doll. She said, let me tell you a little bit more about them. But she said they are coming back. She said they're all coming back. We're, you know.
And did she feel that these events were...
Yeah.
And
She
the
told me
Phoenix
that
Lights
the
were
story
related
I
to
was telling was true. She said they are true, and she said, I'm just going to... She said, you talk about... And I said, all of them are legend stories, Indian legend stories about different shapes of UFOs. You know, just like I was talking to her about the one that appeared in '94 to me was a mothership in Alamos, Colorado, and it was big. That one must have been like 2-3 blocks.
Well, one of our friends, Apollonia Delgado, said that she was doing a ceremony with other female Native Americans, only for females, and it was a very powerful ceremony, and that she had witnessed what she described as a UFO that was as big as a skyscraper, that just kind of appeared and floated over them. And certainly lately, especially, we've seen more and more of these reports of enormous craft in the sky that, you can't say that's ours, because where are you going to fit something like that?
Well, the way this one was going, the wheel in the bottom was going around. All the lights, red, yellow, and blue, were going circled around, like spotlights, okay, but flashing.
The Terrell Copeland video.
But what was weird, that I haven't heard this from anybody that's done UFO taping or nothing, all the bottom was Egyptian signs. Because I have been studying things since I was young, because I wanted to know what was happening to me. I would catch myself drawing things that I didn't even know what I was drawing. And these were Egyptian signs. They were totally Egyptian signs.
Oh, yeah?
All the bottom. And how that stood up in the air that big, I'll never know. And that globe that was there, and there was 3 people, 3 men. One had all of them had those lab white coats on. And the tall one that was standing by the 2 was like us, human-like. No hair, all bald-headed. The other 2 were on like computers, but they had 3 fingers, long fingers. I seen them from like, oh God, from here to that other building there. Not very, very, very close. And they didn't look up at me, but it looked like it was all computers that were working.
So all 3 of them looked humanoid, except for the 2 that had the fingers?
Yeah. Well, their eyes were a little slanted, but bald-headed, but they were nothing like people say, the big eyes, the whole works. No, they were more like human-like.
Is there anything in the tradition that you've heard of that might describe different types of star people?
Yes.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
if there's one, there's probably more than one.
The one that was real popular, that had been documented even with the history of the blondes, there was some that came that looked totally different. There was some that were like lizard-like.
Okay. It's just like the shapeshifters in the Navajo tradition?
Yeah, then that does exist. I mean, a lot of people think that they don't, but they do, because I have seen them twice.
I've spoken to a couple of Navajo people who have said that.
They have seen them?
It's real.
I seen one that was half from a calf turned into a man, then man back into a calf. The last one we seen was last year. The one that was that black cat at my sister's house. And it was big as that coffee table.
Cat?
It was a cat with a human head. And it turned out it was a chip.
Egyptian?
Somebody, a shapeshifter.
Oh, shapeshifter, okay.
Yeah. And that one scared me to death. But then, because I always wear,
I would think so.
I wear things to, because I'm a medicine woman,
Right.
I wear things to make sure that nothing can harm me. And that night I had taken everything off, even my rosary, everything was in my purse. And we just stared at each other, and I told him, you gotta leave. I'm more powerful than you are. And I had to concentrate that I was more powerful in it. But they don't hurt you, they just appear to you and scare you. But
Have you ever heard of are you familiar with the Quetzalcoatl?
what's that?
Quetzalcoatl, the South American traditions of the flying serpent?
No.
That's Guillermo. We'll get Guillermo on that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because in our conference, Guillermo talked about how the South American traditions, the Azteca and the Maya and the Olmec, were all founded by Pleiadians, which has never been revealed to anyone before. So I wonder if, did the Star People give any indication where they might be from?
A lot of them came from different planets, but Rapp said a while back on one of his books that a lot of them come from the ground, but the Navajos believed they were taken care of by the ant people, and people think they're ants. They're not ants, they're little human beings. I don't know if you know this about Chaco Canyon, you lived here in about that little men, two of them that they found in there in the early 70s, and they were taken back to Chicago by the people. But grandmother used to take me there for ceremonies a year after grandma died, before she died. They had been found there, and they were little people from other worlds.
Well, I'm familiar with the ant people of the Navajo, and did the Hopi describe is it not the same as the ant people for the Hopi too? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
That's a different tradition.
Yeah.
We'll ask Apollonia about that.
Yeah, everybody has different ways of people that will show up.
Expressing what they
Yeah.
encountered, for
Yeah,
sure.
they encountered. I know grandmother talked a lot about the beautiful woman and man. You know, the men didn't have no hair, but the women were gorgeous. They never aged, Joe said. I know Marcus, I was around him for 15 years, never aged. I mean, I was aging, he wasn't aging. So, you know, it was amazing.
Oh, and we've only got maybe a couple minutes left because I'm sure the battery's going to die, but is there anything else that you would like to say or share with us? Because we can have another conversation again, but we've got to wrap it up here in a minute.
Not really, only that I do believe that you know, the same thing that came in Arizona. I haven't talked to you or anybody, but I am sure this is the feeling I get that they visit you in Virginia. The same ones. And nobody's told me about this yet, but I really have the strongest feeling that they were there. And I'm trying to figure out why would they go there. You know, unless there's star people there that they're trying to contact, that belong to them. You know, so I really believe that that's the only reason they went there. You know, but I knew the story of Phoenix about the Crystal Legend stories, and that's in my book, The Wolf and the White Eagle. Mm-hmm. And on page 23. And
page 23. And we got that 23 thing again.
Oh, there's something about 23? I just wondered. But the...
And is Priscilla Wolf, do you have a different name?
I'm Garduno, and I got Wolf from marriage. Mm-hmm. But I kept it. That was the only good thing I got out of that deal. I figured since I'm Indian and you know...
Let me ask you, does the rainbow in any of these, are these significant? This is like
Paul White Eagle did the art for this. He's a medicine man. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so he did the